Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. How are we doing? All right. What are we doing here today, guys? We are doing the intuitive card reading for June 23rd through 29th, the last full week of June. Here we are, last full week of June, basically halfway done with the year almost, right? No, yeah, I think that's pretty much right in the middle there. So this means that the July 2025 reading will be up soon. Okay, what do we need to tell you guys? Okay, like this video. Sorry, guys. Little scatterbrain here. Okay, please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell and you'll be notified of all of my new videos that go up on the channel. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies of the week. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear feedback. Love to see how things resonate with you. Love to hear any comments. Just be kind. That's all I ask, guys. I think that's it. 2 decks we're using. I'm down to the 2 decks. Archetype decks, Wisdom of the Oracle, shuffled, of course. Different order, I believe, as last time. Not quite sure on that. Don't quote me, but they are in the order that feels intuitively aligned for this reading. So let's just jump right into it, guys. What the heck do we need on this last full week of June? Okay, we have guide upside down. Pleases financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. Okay, what do we need? All right, so we need to not worry so much. Easier for you to say, right? Spirit, you live in spirit world. Okay, you're coming from spirit world. Money is important. However, this is basically saying we're placing financial gain over being able to guide people in the right direction. So this is coming through needs. So let me try to explain this, how it would figure here. So basically it's saying that we need to be more of the guide. Guide is very similar to mentor. So basically it's basically saying that we need to mentor. Don't worry so much about the financial aspect. So this could actually mean a couple of different things. This could mean that maybe your manager at work is asking you to asking somebody to shadow you, and you know that will kind of like slow you down for the work week, but it's really more so about like giving back and the love of the work, and you know that you are, adding a valuable member to your team, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like spirit saying like, don't be afraid to mentor this week. Okay, it's under needs. So saying that we really kind of need to be doing this. This could also mean the opposite. Okay, even though it might be saying that we might be the mentor, we might need a mentor. Okay, so don't discount that. So this could be we need like an apprenticeship of some kind, or a training of some kind that maybe doesn't pay the best, but it would really accelerate your career in the end, or it'll really give you the valuable insight that you need for your current position or role or something along here. I definitely do feel like it has something to do with work, but there's something about listening to a mentor, being a mentor, and really putting those benefits before anything else, especially anything financial. Don't necessarily think so much about the financial gain. And like I said earlier, I totally understand how finances are a very important thing in people's lives, but sometimes we have to, sometimes our morals are more important. Sometimes giving back, and in this case, it does feel that way, giving back or, being there for somebody, or learning the skills that we need to eventually get ahead, are more important than necessarily anything else at this moment. So take that need as you will, but that's what's coming up. Okay, action needed, something else to take action on. Time to go. Okay, so time to go means leaving something. Okay, so 4 + 5 = 9. So basically this is pretty straightforward, saying that we need to go. So we need to do something, we need to take action on something. When I see a card in the action needed slot, this is actually bringing it into reality, bringing it into your environment. Sometimes I say physically and environmentally, right? So the difference with that is it's all energy. So it's hard if I say energetic versus physical. It means more internal versus external, really. And so basically it's saying like the things in our life that we could be thinking about leaving something, but the things in our life are actually going to be left. Does that make sense? Like we could be thinking about leaving your job, but we actually leave our job, right? And maybe it has something to do with the job. I'm just giving it as an example. I'm not necessarily feeling it energetically that way, but it could be that you're leaving. It could be a habit. It could be an apartment. It could be, it really could be anything. It's pretty generic, but I do feel like it's, because it's under action needed, it's basically saying this will come into your physical reality. So something is you're going to leave something this week. And like, honestly, guys, it could be something minor. Like, it's really hard for me to like explain these energies because I don't mean to like diminish something, but it could be something as minor as like, you've always been going to the same bar in your neighborhood for a decade now, and this is the last week that you're going to the same bar, okay? And then you'll never enter that bar again. You guys ever think about that? Do you ever think about like, oh my God, I can't believe that time was like the last time I was gonna be somewhere, right? Travel is a little different because, you know, I wouldn't say rarely, but you know, people usually in general try to travel to different places and not necessarily go back to the same place unless it's a place that they love. But sometimes you just like, it's almost like a feeling that this is going to be the last time that you do something. And I definitely feel that feeling coming through this week. So guys, it can pertain to anything. I'm not getting any specific thing. Okay. So it's really, and here's the other thing. Sometimes you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just don't know. Like I just give, you know, well, I didn't give an example, but like sometimes like you think about like, oh my God, that was the last time I saw that person. Okay. And you didn't know it was going to be your last time. This is kind of saying like you might get that feeling, but it also just, you know, might be the last time for something. So interesting stuff. You guys got to let me know down below how that might resonate. Obviously, you know, I always recommend people watch the videos at the beginning of the week and then watch it again like on the weekends and see, you know, maybe like Sunday and see how things have transpired. Okay, so I would be very, very interested to see how that does. All right, issue. We have Midas, Miser in the shadow, hoarding money and emotions, obsessive fear of belief. Okay, so yeah, we are worried about money, and that is for sure. So we have issue. Okay, so we are super frugal this week. Money is definitely an issue. Okay, like I mentioned in the very beginning, it might be coming in as a barrier to being a mentor or getting a mentor or an apprenticeship of some kind, but also we feel like we are pinching pennies this week. We are thinking about our lack of finances. I definitely feel like a lot of lack there as far as mindset goes. So definitely being super frugal. You might be making decisions based on frugality. You might, you know, be pinching pennies a little bit more than usual this week. I will say this though, it doesn't necessarily, it feels like it is more of a mindset, not necessarily that it is, it could be reality. Like maybe, you know, maybe this week your paycheck wasn't as big, or you weren't, you know, maybe you were expecting a bonus that didn't come this week or something along those lines. But definitely does feel like we are pinching pennies, really thinking about our finances, obsessing a little bit over money, finances being emotionally charged, that kind of thing. So it's definitely an issue this week. I do feel like it's more like mindset. And by the way, I do feel like it's temporary, but it's definitely going to be money. I would be shocked if, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody had a fight about money with their significant other or something along those lines. So money is an issue this week, for all of those different ways. Okay, challenge, unfinished symphony. Okay, so it's a challenge finishing something. Okay, so we're having a hard time, not necessarily going back to the unfinished thing. Well, yeah, going back to the unfinished thing, but like also finishing the unfinished thing. Okay, so this is saying that we're having issues closing up projects. We're having issues trying to close something. This definitely does feel like if something is like kind of like open, you know, how do we say this? Something that's open that you thought that you would close this week, it feels like it's not happening. Okay, I don't know if this is a good example, but the thing that comes to mind is like if you're in sales and you have an account that you think you're just really, you know, you're just really going to close it, you're really counting on it, and it doesn't get closed this week, okay? And so it's still open, right? It's unfinished. It's incomplete. That's a good way to put it. Like things that you think would be completed are incomplete. Something else that comes to mind as an example is if you're having like home renovations or something, and you thought that the job would be complete this week, and it's not going to be complete this week, okay? So it's that type of energy. So that's really frustrating. But that first example could obviously have something to do with the Midas Miser, with the money issue, right? You thought that we were going to close this account, and then you don't, and then you start kind of freaking out because you were counting on that money or something. You know, it'll probably be, you know, in the next paycheck, not this paycheck, or something like that, okay? So they could definitely go together for sure. But yeah, definitely just feel like something that you thought was going to be completed is not going to be completed, and it's a little frustrating. So guys, I do feel a lot of frustration up here. Usually that's the case though with the issue and the challenge section up there. So let's see what's actually going to change this week. Okay. We have King. Okay, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. Okay, so this is leading appropriately. This is leading in an enlightened way. This is leading with empathy. This is leading in in leadership in a positive way. So it's under change. So it's saying, so it could be us, right? It could be, you know, we are moving into, and this is something that I would consider more, can be internal, can be external, but you know, it's more about getting into more of that leadership mindset and feeling that leadership energy, but also too at the same time, this could be that we could be getting a better leadership. Not for the United States, that's for sure. I don't think it means politically, but I don't know, maybe it does. Maybe somebody, you know, guys, I'm doing this reading after we bombed Iran, so I'm a little discombobulated, to say the least. But so this is could be also like somebody coming into your life. You know, maybe somebody does. To finish that thought, maybe somebody politically does show up. You know, with proper leadership, which we could really freaking need right now. But it could be like on a more personal level, somebody coming into your life that is better leadership. So you can be getting a better manager. You know, maybe the roles are changing at work, right? And you're getting a better manager or something, or you've transferred to a different department and you've got a different manager or something along those lines. So there's something here where there's better leadership coming. It could, again, be our external reality, but could also be internal. We could be feeling it coming or hear the news of it coming or something like that. So love that, because we could all use better leadership at this point in our lives. Okay, focus. We have cleaned it up. Guys, we're getting a lot of the cards, and we've been getting in this for the last few weeks about last minute things, finishing things up, things like that. Clean it up is basically getting things kind of set up, cleaning things up, when you're done with something, putting it away, like that kind of thing. If you're done using something, put it away, put it back to its proper thing. So basically it's saying focus on is the word, why do I want to say meticulous? I think what this is trying to say is like pay attention to like the details. Pay attention to the details, but also like when you're done with something, put it away. So it kind of is this, God, how do I interpret this energy? It's a little different from when it's what it's usually been kind of portraying, but it's kind of like when you're done with something, be done with something, right? And we kind of have a lesson in letting things go under the action needed card up there, a slot up there. But this is basically saying like be meticulous, and be detail oriented for sure, and it's under focus, so it's saying focus on being detail oriented, focus on being meticulous, focus on organization is like another thing, but also like when you're done with something, just kind of like be done with it, and also like make it known that you're done with it. Guys, you have to let me know down below if this resonates with you or not, but it's kind of like saying if you're done with something, let it be known. If that resonates, I hope it does. I hope that's helpful to somebody at least out there, because this is really hard to interpret, but those are all the things that you should be focusing on. Okay, I won't go too much into it because I think I'll confuse people more, but if you have questions, you can put them down below as well. Okay, reflect. We have teacher in the shadow, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Okay, so this is about being not a great teacher, okay, or lacking on skills. Teacher could also be mentor. Teacher could also be guide, okay? Very similar type archetype. So this is basically saying, reflecting on how we might not be the best mentor, teacher, guide. In the past, now, reflect is usually comes out with a few different good journal prompts that we can dive deep into. So this is basically saying, like, how are we not being the best teacher? What are some examples? Do we make fun of people or call them stupid when they don't know something? Are we, guys, I know that doesn't sound the best, but I think we've all done it in a political argument, okay? Or any other kind of argument. Like sometimes we can get condescending. This resonates with me, just so I'm very clear. I'm not saying you guys as in like preaching to you. It goes for me too. But where could we be speaking too fast, or like not speaking clearly enough, not communicating clearly enough? Where are we not being positive and encouraging to our, metaphorical students? So this is really about, like, if people don't know things, why are we so quick to put them down or call them stupid or think that they're dumb? Or, there's something here about, what are just like a good journal prompt would be, what are the best attributes of being a good teacher? Think about all the good teachers in your life, whether it's actually in school teachers or people in your life that really have taught you something. Maybe you think back to like your first relationship and they've taught you how to, it was a really good relationship and they've taught you how to love and how to be in a relationship that's respectful and things like that. So think about all the good teachers in your life. Again, metaphorically, it doesn't have to be an actual, your second grade teacher or something. But, how do they speak to you? Are they patient with you? Are they kind to you? Just think about all of the different attributes that kind of go along with that and how you can embody them going forward. So there's definitely something here about being like a good mentor, being a good teacher, that we kind of need to be doing more. Understanding comes to mind. How do we need to be more understanding? Stuff like that, guys, And the more you journal, the more you'll come out with stuff. So responsibilities, regeneration. Yes, I love this one. Okay, so regeneration is always about building back at, whether it's the same or better. So basically it's saying your responsibilities are to build back or build back better. And so basically it's saying there's no room this week. Obviously feel your feelings, but there's this feeling of pity that kind of comes through where it's saying, like, if you've lost something, yes, feel a certain way about it, but you have to get it back, right? This is about getting something back that was maybe taken from you or lost, or damaged or something along those lines, and refurbishing it, regenerating it, like that kind of thing, like getting it back. Like there's something here that you have to get back, okay? Whether it's get back your youthful nature, okay? It could be like more of that nature, or it could be something like actually getting your stuff back from somebody. You've lost somebody, you've lost things. Maybe, God forbid, something happened where somebody, you've lost all your things and it's time to build that back and get, so maybe you have to go to a Goodwill and replenish your furniture or something, something like that. Get new furniture. Maybe you're going to buy a better quality furniture this time, something along those lines. So there's something here that you need to build back better or get back better or something like that. But it's definitely the week to do that. All right, money, finances, and career. I'm very interested to see what this says after we got that card up there, the Midas Miser. Okay, addict, helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. Okay, this is actually, don't jump to conclusions because it's actually a positive thing, because this is basically saying it's in the light. So it says it helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. So we're nipping ourselves in the bud here with money, finances, and career. So old patterns that maybe you used to do, they're being cut. You're like, the addict signifies being more aware of something. You're more aware of maybe your shopping issues. Maybe you're shopping, quite literally an addiction. or overspending in general, right? Overspending. There's something here where you know that you've overdid it before. This could even be overworking, right? Because career is in this section here. But we're just overdoing it there, overworking. Guys, yes, it could be an addiction, yeah, working kind of thing. So, and then we nip that in the bud. So basically we're aware of whatever pattern it is with our money, finances, and career, and we don't do it. Okay, so maybe you don't work yourself to the bone this week or something along those lines, which is great. Okay, or maybe you don't spend on something frivolous this week, which is also great, which would fit in with the Midas Miser, right? As you are being more frugal this week. But I see it as a positive thing, so it means that you're cutting out bad behaviors when it comes to money, finances, and career. At the very least, I will say you don't repeat any bad habits or something that has happened in the past. So I will say that. Okay, surprise. We have the Fates. Yay! Okay, so the Fates is always about, it's kind of like a destiny type card. So basically it's saying what will be, will be. So it's kind of like a card of like detachment. So it's under surprise. So basically it's saying that we're kind of surprised that we're in that energy. We're kind of surprised that we are being detached. We're kind of surprised that we are letting go of something, even though we have the time to go. So I will put this 2 and 2 together. It could be connected. Not always. This is a reading for the collective, so everybody is different, but it could be something along the lines of having to do with the time to go card, where it's kind of like, maybe it was like the last time you've been somewhere, and maybe that it's meant to be that way, right? Maybe it's the last time that you're ever in your home state or something like that, and that's your destiny, is to kind of like move on from it, right? So it could be destined in that way, where it's kind of like, you have to understand that it had to be this way, or it has to be this way, or you're in alignment, and what will be kind of a situation. So I love that. And it's under surprise, so it could catch us off guard, I would say. But I think connecting those dots is going to be important to really see like the spiritual purpose of what's happening. All right, friends, we have Rebel upside down, sorry, out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. Okay, so there's definitely a rebellion nature under Friends. This could be that we are challenging our friendships in some way, shape, or form. We are saying no to something that usually we say yes to. So this could mean that we're kind of moving away from obligations within our friend circle or community or something like that. We are not going with the status quo, or we are finally saying something that maybe we've held back before in the past. So it definitely feels rebellious in nature, where it's kind of like, maybe it's a taboo subject to like talk about something with a friend of yours, and you rebel against that and you start talking about it. That's another small example. This could look very differently for a lot of different people, but just feels like we're kind of going against the norm. We're kind of like not just going with the flow, meaning like we're not just going with status quo with every, with the herd, right? And it's very interesting that this would come under a friends section here, because usually, with friends, it's almost like a herd mentality. Sometimes, not always. Could be like a herd mentality, could be like a tribe mentality, and you go against that. So I would also put this in family too. Friends and family, I would put kind of like in the same category. So you can be rebelling against your family in one way or another. Maybe your family is religious in one way, and they do something particular that you're just not going to do, okay, anymore, or just this week or whatever. Okay, so something is definitely going on there as far as like going against the grain and going against the crowd. Going against the popular opinion is another way to say that. All right, never-ending story, romantic connection. Okay, so this is about a cyclical pattern that is kind of frustrating. Okay, so it's under romantic connection. So this might be a resurfacing of a fight. This might be the same, the same argument over and over again. This might be you're realizing you have the same pattern as your ex, or this person has the same pattern as your ex. Something along those lines, where it's like a cycle, like you're understanding the patterns, understanding the cycles, And I don't necessarily think it's quote unquote a bad thing, because self-awareness is key. That's why I love it for the addict here, because it's basically saying you're aware of these things, so you know how to act appropriately, you know how to act accordingly. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because if you notice a pattern, then you could stop it. Maybe you always pick a fight, or self-sabotage when you feel like you're not getting enough attention or something like that, and you notice it, and so you, before you act out, you know, you're self-aware, so you prevent yourself from acting out, basically. So I like this. This is also good for people, my single people out there dating. You might be noticing patterns in the people that you go out on dates with, or the people that you're meeting, or the way that you're acting on dates, things like that. So it's not necessarily a negative thing. Okay, important. Okay, I just picked 2 Wisdom of Oracle cards in a row, and usually I try to alternate, but I read intuitively, so let's go with it. Important, milk and honey. Okay, so this is bittersweet energy. This is basically saying the honey and the gold is at the end of the rainbow. Okay, so everything is almost there. It's important that you understand that you are almost there. I feel like a lot of us need to hear this, especially myself, so I love seeing this. And obviously it was important and needed to come from this deck, so we needed to see this card, so I love it. So basically it's saying it's almost there. So it's bittersweet energy could also mean tit for tat, meaning like if we have to give up something that we loved, we get something we love in return. Okay, so this could also mean closed doors and then open doors. So if you have to let go of anything, which I did mention earlier that we might be doing, there's always going to be a new door opening. Okay, the rainbow is not only a wonderful symbol for our LGBTQIA friends, but it's also a symbol of renewal, and it's always a symbol of after the rain, something has to come after that, okay? And that's the rainbow and then the sunny skies. So it's kind of like the bridge to it, right? So we have to see it that way. I love it. All right, health and wellness. We have vampire. Make sure where someone or something is draining your life force. Okay, something draining, but we're aware of it. Again, these ones that might seem negative are not so negative, because guys, we have a lot of awareness this week, and I love it. Okay, I love the awareness. So basically it's saying something is draining me. Okay, so whatever health and wellness journey you're on, you're realizing something is draining you. Maybe you're on a weight loss journey and you're counting every single thing that goes in your mouth, all the macros, all the calories, all the protein, all of that stuff is just draining the heck out of you, okay? And so you're realizing that, and you may, act accordingly. So maybe you'll be a little bit more lax. Maybe you'll get an app that will help you do that. You will repeat meals, whatever it actually is. So there's something here that you're realizing is draining your energy, is not making you feel good, and you're just it's like sucking the fun out of it, sucking the passion out of it, sucking the joy out of it. Okay, so like it's no longer a challenge, it's no longer fun, that kind of thing. You might be doing things out of obligation and you're realizing it. So another one is maybe mental health journey. Maybe you're realizing your therapist is talking more about themselves than you, and that's draining the hell out of you, or maybe you're going twice a week and you're like, I'm so drained from, because every time I go see this one therapist, I cry, and it's just so draining that maybe I need to go down to one day a week or something like that. So there's a bunch of different ways this can fit, but you're realizing what's draining your energy and you're rectifying that, which again is a good thing, positive thing. All right, overall outcome, a change in the wind. Yes, so we can start feeling a change. I love this. Overall, what's an overarching theme? What are we going to see by the weekend? We're definitely going to feel like things are changing in our lives, okay? I know what's changing up here. We have the better leadership. We're being better leaders. We're getting better leaders. We love that, but that's not the only change, okay? We've got 2 ways of changing here. This is basically saying that you feel like things are changing as far as, I will say, people that feel like they have the same everyday routine, people that feel like they can't get ahead or they can't move forward, that kind of energy definitely feels like what this is talking about. It's basically saying, like, if you really desperately needed whatever kind of change it is that you desperately needed, it's definitely coming. And you can start kind of feeling it, which makes sense, guys, because as I mentioned earlier, we're halfway through the year. This is a year of the snake. this is the year of the 9, okay? Numerology 9, Chinese zodiac, the snake. Both represent endings and shedding old skin and becoming somebody new, okay? Or newness, right? Because it's kind of like the rainbow. It's kind of saying, whatever ends, there has to be a beginning, okay? And so basically this is saying like things are definitely changing. They might be changing a little slowly, okay? But because it's been the year of the snake and it's been the 9 year all year for the last 6 months, right? But now we might be kind of feeling that change, and I love it because we're halfway through. That always makes sense, okay? Just so you guys know, numerology-wise, usually the first quarter, you can kind of start to feel it. Like for me, I feel like January 1st, you can really, you start to feel the energy of it, and then 3 months later or 4 months later, you kind of start seeing changes. Halfway through the year, more changes. 3 quarters of the year, even more changes, and then you're a completely different person by December. So that's what I feel like makes sense, that it's like this halfway in, okay? We got this card on a halfway checkpoint, basically. So, guys, I love this week. Lots of self-awareness, lots of us recognizing behaviors and kind of being more thoughtful and methodical about our next moves, right? And not necessarily doing things on autopilot or not thinking about the things that we're doing. That's kind of like an overarching theme that I do want to finish with here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. I've talked for way too long. I know that because my voice is getting hoarse. So, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you in the monthly and the next weekly. All right, bye, guys.